Our side-by-side comparison of the Russian Berdan 2 rifles. The one on the top is a rifle I picked up at an auction a few years ago. And like I said, these things go well over $1,000. And if and when they do come up for auction or sale, there's a lot of interest in them. They are hard to find, especially in nice condition like that. Now this one here, the Royal Tiger one, the price, like I said, I expected a little roughness. It does have little stock inlays or whatever. Is not in outwardly very good condition, but that was expected, and it is, I believe, the Dragoon style. But looking at this, you can see they're about equal in length right there. So that looks like a rifle stock that a Dragoon action has been put in. There's the difference in the length of them. And also, if you notice, there's a little lug on that upper one, which is absent there. I'm not quite sure what the drag. All I have is a drawing of it. I don't have any photographs of them to go by. It has a similar sight, or the volley sight, with the barrel band. That's the same. Okay, which the Dragoons should have the sling mounts that go through, like on the Mosin-Nagant M91s. It should have one there and there. So that is probably a rifle stock. The shorter guns had a different sling mounting system. And you see that's what the rear band should look like, and not kind of welded over like that. And like I said, when I got this off this stock, you could see where it's been reshaped and fitted, and that nose cap isn't too square on there. Okay, so yeah, that was a field modification to say, but still, the bore is good, and actually, the rifle's complete, so I can't complain for the amount of money I spent. So let's take a closer look at the guns and the actions. Alright, taking a look from the top of them. As you can see also, which is strange, you see this gap here with the bolt? The base of the case will be exposed when this bolt is closed. And this is a single locking, this part of the bolt locks against the receiver, and that's the only lockup you have on these guns, these old guns. So both of the bolts are similar. And then when it comes to the markings, try to get the camera to focus, we see the markings. And this one here, the date, or this is serial number. Let's see where this one is dated. 1884. Okay, the date is here. And I believe, these were blued. So this one has all the finish missing off of it. And again, the rear sights here, we'll take a look. That's what I got there. And there's the leaf with the volley notch that lines up with that post right there. That's how you would use it, is that notch in the leaf there when you stand it up. Okay, but outwardly, these rear sights look about the same and are on the same way. So it'd be difficult to say if this is a cut-down rifle or an actual Dragoon. Okay, I don't know. I know very little about these, haven't done much studying. But, okay, the date on this one is here, the imperial marking, and the serial number there. On this gun, I believe the date is on the barrel, and that there, of 1879. The imperial markings, a bunch of other markings, Ethiopian, I guess that This, I believe, is King Menelik, from what I could tell, and I don't know what the second line is yet. And if you notice, the serial number on this one is here. And where it usually has an inscription on the barrel here, like this, which giving you the manufacturer and everything, that is not present on this one. So I don't know if that has something to do with the model. In other words, were the Dragoons marked differently or what? My camera's out of focus. But yes, see this is probably one of the ones that came out of Finland in the 50s. It's in really nice shape, and that's the way you find them. You either find them like really good or really bad, and there's really no in between. Other than this here, the Royal Tiger one, that kind of falls in between. It's not a total relic and wreck like a lot I've been seeing pop up with capture papers and import papers. And like I said, the bore on this is good. Just like this, the bore on this one's good. That stuff coming out of Iraq or Afghanistan's been there for and been used over the past 100 years. And as we take a look at the markings, one thing about this gun, it's got a ton of markings on it. Okay, here and here. Same with this one here. We got our date, some barrel stamps there. More over here. So as we go down, we'll look at the bore, and like I'll tell you, see this has that little lug on there, which should be there for the socket bayonet. And this here, I'm not quite sure. This may have been trimmed off a little, because if you see, there's quite a distance there. This may have had the barrel pruned. I have to find out the specs and then measure the barrel. But also you can tell if we go over here and look at this one and try to get it to focus, and you'll see the barrel is flat, has that little chamfer for a crown there. Try to get that in there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but yeah, that's properly done. This here's, it's not straight. It looks like it's been sawed and filed, so the barrel has been shortened or had the end cut off at one time. So that's something we're going to have to work on in order to get it up to where it should be. All right, now we'll look at them from the opposite side. Get a nice close-up of this. I don't know why this camera, looks like it's going to be time for a new camera. Doesn't want to focus. Better look at the bolt. And like I said, you see that gap down in there? That's where the rim of the case is supposed to be. So when I say, we're going to go shoot these, that might be sometime in the distant future. A lot more research both on the guns and the ammunition. And going to have to get some custom bullet molds made and some other things done. And also you can see it there. So that's our close-ups of them. And these things all have little markings. Like down here on the buttstock, there's some stampings. This one has them too. They're not as clear, but you can see them. And worrying about these tang cracks, that has a few cracks in it there. Kind of didn't notice that, but that's just from age and stress. You know, people start freaking out over these. Really is nothing to worry about. If worse comes to worse, you can try to put it in a vise and try to put a little glue or something in there, try to steep it down into the split to hold it up, but that's something I don't really worry about right at the moment. Okay, maybe I'll open the bolts up. Okay, there we have the actions open, and you can see fairly simple. The extractor's up in here. There's your bolt face, part of that trigger mechanism in that, and you depress that down with a screwdriver to get the bolt out. So that I'll tell you, that way if you pull the trigger it doesn't work. You have to depress that ejector thing down. And that's it right there. Same with this one. Like I said, I like the fact the extractor's present. All the parts are there. A lot of times you'll find these, the extractor's gone, the bolt head may be missing, you know. That's a separate piece there. And finding replacement parts or spare parts for these things, it's non-existent. So that's something you got to kind of bear in mind when you buy and what you're paying for. Okay? This is where your collecting knowledge comes in. And these here also, this thing cocks on the close. It's going to be tough for me to do this with my bad hand. Hold on, let me see if I can get a camera set up on a tripod. Yeah, you have to remember with these really old bolt action designs, you know, these are real old ones. So this is your locking mechanism, okay? So when you pull up, you're compressing your spring, and then when this rotates down to this point, that's your single point lockup. And then depressing the trigger would fire the gun. Now, I believe this has a safety on it. So what you do is you cock it. And when you cock it, when this is fully exposed here, okay, where we'll take a look at it, when it is not cocked, that is in the fired position here. So this is loaded. Notice the gap. Now, if you grab a hold of this, depress the trigger, and then take your finger off the trigger and let it go to where you have a gap there like that. Okay, this now keeps the firing pin off of the primer. The bolt is locked and will not open, and the gun will not fire. I believe that is the safety. Then what you would do if you wish to fire, you would grasp this knob, take it back, and that's how you'd indicate where you are, and then now the weapon would fire. Pretty interesting. I just figured that out fooling with this here. Same with this one. We go in, we got our big gap, we depress the trigger. Let me get to it. Then ease it down to where you have a small gap, and then she's locked, and then you would have to pull it back, and then it fires. Pretty interesting design. This one, something's worn on it, but that's something to investigate later. But that's basically the operation of this weapon. It's pretty interesting. I haven't fooled with them much. Like I said, there's not a lot of information on these. So it's kind of getting in a specialized rare area. And the fact that, you know, whenever you find decent examples that go for $1,500 to $2,000, it's not a common gun. You know, where Carcanos are selling for $250, everybody's in the game at that price level. Okay, this is something where you have to do your research. You have to know what you're looking at and what you're buying. When you're starting to get up over $1,000 for collectibles, you better know what you're doing, okay? I've heard a lot of instances where guys were paying $3,000 for these guns that basically are fake. They're not, what they're purporting that they are. Lugers with SS runes on them. The Germans never put those markings on those guns. I've seen them myself a couple times. And I always just smile and say, hey, it's nice, and walk right by. But that's a little example on how the bolt works. I believe I'm right, the safety mechanism. But it makes sense. Well, that's my look at the Russian Berdan 2 rifles. And it ends this series, this little mini-series that I did, because a lot of times, instead of just giving a generalized explanation, there's a lot of things involved there. There's dealing with Royal Tiger, dealing with something that's a little bit more unusual and not that common, a type of gun that people really don't have a lot of knowledge about in general. Everybody kind of knows what a Carcano is. Not very many people have seen one of these and how the rifle operates in that. So I just wanted to give you the view and also tips on when you're dealing with stuff. I have to do another video on the gun broker and that, because things are really getting crazy out here, especially with the ammunition shortage, and mill surplus market is totally out of whack. And like right in the middle of all this, people are cutting loose things like this, which kind of is, for me, I know something like this may not be for everyone, but for me it's kind of interesting and a little bit more of what I'm focusing on in my collecting hobby, as you say, or my collecting interest. I'm sorry, my collecting interest. But the Carcanos, still, going back to the days, they're inexpensive, they're fun, and we can shoot them like crazy. And it's fairly easy for everyone to get involved in it, where this is getting a little bit off to more of a very specialized area, which there are a lot of people, globally, that, like these videos I do on guns from this time period and this type of weapon. And they're interesting in the way the original old designs were and how they work and that. And like I said, not a lot of information about them out there, but still, they're still fun to collect. And, like I said, I'm going to try to get these shooting. That's not going to be that easy. And like I said, with everything going on, they're probably going to get put up and put away in storage until a later point in time when I can get them out and work with them properly when I have the time. All right, so thanks for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe, and if you really like what's going on, you can send some support. The links are down there in the description of this video and just about every other one. All right, thank you.